Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to fix your Game Boy or Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. Really it works with all of them. It's the same process. So today you're going to need to have a small Phillips head. You're also going to need to have a tri-wing screwdriver. Now normally the tri-wings, they look like this, and you can get them online, Amazon, eBay, like $3-5. Sometimes if you're ordering parts, they'll send you one for free depending on the company that you order from. So today though I will be using my Fix-It screwdriver from iFixit. This is a great screwdriver. You can use all the different pits and it's magnetized, so it's pretty cool. But first off, if you're experiencing any button issues, start and select are most common, but you can use it for any of the buttons really. So this Phillips head, there's one Phillips head screw right here, and you're going to want to unscrew that and set that to the side. Now is time for the tri-wing bit. And there's multiple tri-wing bits all around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're going to want to go ahead and remove all of those. And that's part of the reason that I like the iFixit screwdriver, is that it's magnetized and it just pulls these screws right out and it hangs on. Some screwdrivers have the magnetic edge, but not all of them. But this one has a magnet on the inside, so every single bit that you use will be magnetized. So yeah, there you go. Just go ahead and remove all of these screws. Now, the original Game Boy Advance can be kind of tricky to put back together sometimes because there's various different pieces. You know, the LNR buttons and these pieces can kind of be a little bit finicky when taking it apart. So we're going to switch back to our Phillips head screw bit. And there's two screws, one over here, one right here, and we're going to want to remove both of those. And then you're going to want to gently flip up these little tabs here. Where the ribbon cable is connected to the board. There's two little brown tabs, and you can do this either with your screwdriver or your nail. I don't really have very long nails at the moment, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my tri-wing bit. And so now that's up, you can remove the ribbon cable here. Do that very carefully, and this will be our main focus. So usually when I open these guys up, I do it for each and every one, but for this one in particular, it's the start and select button, which also can kind of be like a little bit finicky with the Game Boy Advances. So just an easy fix for that. You wanna make sure this has proper placement as well. Sometimes if they're placed badly, it will not press them very easily. So you go ahead and take a little bit of 70% isopropyl alcohol and Q-tip. Make sure it's wetted with the alcohol there, and you're going to want to scrub on the contacts of the board. Now I'm doing these for every single one, just to be sure that they all work real good, real nice. So this is A and B. The A and B contacts are cleaned, and then up contact, right contact, down contact, and left contact. And then go ahead and dry that as well. And then the main issue for this one, the start and select contacts. And then go ahead and dry it. Now you can kind of see that that helped because this Q-tip is kind of grubby. So that was just for the board alone. But next, you want to do the same thing for the contacts, the rubber contacts. So go ahead and brush Q-tip. And sometimes with the rubber contacts, you'll have to use multiple Q-tips. So I'm gonna make sure this isn't too wet. There we go. So just, scrape on the inside there. There we go. See, pieces all falling off there for the Game Boy Advance. And you'll see some residue from the contacts. Now, Game Boy Advance isn't always too bad in comparison to other things. You can also use this for Super Nintendo controllers, original NES controllers. It's the same process, and the same process for the original Game Boy and Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket. They just need a good cleaning because they are, thoroughly used and can tend to have issues. And it's a really simple fix. Your Game Boy isn't necessarily broken. It's just that these pads and contacts need a good cleaning. See, I'm already kind of burnt out with this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and use another one for A and B. Alright, so next is reassembly. Looks like we got a little bit of funk in here, and I'm gonna get that out just so there's no further disturbances. Now you're gonna want to make sure that the contacts are properly placed in there, so you don't necessarily need to take them out unless you want to clean the insides of the buttons as well, which also can be an issue sometimes if the buttons are grimy or grubby. You could take it out and thoroughly give it a wash with the rubbing alcohol, but make sure it's dry before you reassemble it. So also I'm going to go ahead and take out this power switch here, just to be sure. Sometimes it will not close properly if you if the power switch is in the way. So go ahead and reassemble all these pieces here, and place the board back in place. Then I'll take my fix-it screwdriver to pull that ribbon cable back out gently. You don't want to tug on it too hard. I find it can be an issue if you take the ribbon cable out before reassembling it. I just like to do it this way because it's easier. Make sure this is nice and lined up before you pop it back in, and it's easy. And then you just make sure to put these two tabs back down. Make sure the contacts are flush with this part here. Now we get our Phillips head back on there, grab those screws and reassemble. Put the Phillips head in there, and don't be super tight when you're screwing it back in. You want to get just enough torque to where it's holding the board in. If you do it too tight, it may not work very well. So then now we can put the power button back in there, the power switch. Just slip it on in there and turn it into the off position, and then put the case back on. Make sure it's nicely shut and not too jagged. Make sure it's in there nice and good. And then go ahead and replace our Phillips screw right here at the bottom by the battery compartment. And then get our tri-wing bit out and replace all those tri-wing screws. Now when you're putting it back together, as far as torque goes, these top two screws here where the game goes at, you don't want to put those in too tight. It could cause your L and R buttons not to function properly. So you want to do it with just enough torque to where your buttons don't get sticky. See, it's functioning properly, so that's good. And then do the same with the other side. Screw it in there and use just enough torque. Don't make it too tight. And there we go. It's not sticky, so that's good. If you do it too tight, those buttons may stick, and it's not a good sign. You want to make sure to test it out after you replace the screws, because otherwise you're going to have to start from square one and do it over again.